Money. I would venture to guess you probably don't like to talk about money, especially in church. I've often wondered why that is. Could it be because it seems like every time we talk about it, we're asking for it? Or maybe you don't want the church to tell you what to do with your money. Or perhaps you think the church makes you feel guilty or embarrassed that you don't give as much as you ought. Or maybe it just makes you nervous because you really just don't know how. I think it is always a good time to talk about how our faith and money intersect. Jesus taught about money more than any other topic. Could it be that even back then, money controlled how people thought and acted? All the more reason we need to talk about it. This is about us guarding ourselves against all kinds of greed, about not storing up treasures for ourselves, about using our money in faithful living instead of letting our money use us. This week we turn to the 12th chapter of Luke and hear one of Jesus' parables. This one about a rich man, a farmer who has an abundant harvest. So much so that he asks himself, "What shall I do? For I have nowhere to store all of these crops." And then he says, "I know, I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and that's where I will store all my grain and my goods." It's actually kind of funny how Jesus describes this man's conversation with himself as he starts to speak to his own soul, as he says, "Soul, you have ample goods stored up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, be merry." But then God says, "You fool, for this very night your life is being demanded of you, and all of these things that you have prepared, whose will they be now?" You know, what's so interesting about this parable isn't that Jesus chastises him for his wealth. He doesn't. But instead, it shows us how hard it is for this man to focus on anything other than himself. What shall I do with all of my crops to secure my future? Not only does he give no thought to anyone else, he gives no thought toward God. He doesn't even consider that his abundant harvest is a gift from God, that all things belong to God. This is what we need to talk about in our lives. We need to ask ourselves how the message of the world that teaches us to care for ourselves first and above all else, how that impacts our use and relationship with money. We need to explore how money and greed pull us away from God. And we need to look for opportunities to practice faithful living with an attitude of generosity that can deepen our trust in the Almighty. So I invite you to join me this Sunday, and let's talk about it. I look forward to seeing you in worship.